My dad's affair partner told her child that life isn't fair since she has none of my dad's family in her life, so I made sure she knew that it was unfair to her daughter to have no contact with my dad's family because of her selfishness. So my 20F dad is with his affair partner Laura. He and Laura have a kid, Lucy, 13F. Lucy was conceived after my dad and Laura were already together a while. Her birth wasn't the reason my parents split, in case anyone is wondering. But obviously my dad's family knew about the affair once my parents split, and they banned Laura from ever attending family events. To this day the only people on that side of the family that have met her are me and my one cousin who came to stay with me at my dad's for a few days one time. My grandparents told Dad they'd happily be active in Lucy's life, but it would have to be Dad that facilitated the relationship, meaning he'd have to bring her to see them alone. Laura said no. I guess she thought eventually she'd force herself into the family through Lucy, but all it did was mean no one ever met Lucy. My dad would take me to my grandparents' or aunt's place without Laura and Lucy, and that was just how it went. Well, it recently came up that my grandparents were giving me money towards buying an apartment when I graduate, which set Laura off. She's always been bitter that my grandparents financed my schooling but my dad paid for university. She was passive-aggressively grumbling at the dinner table that this is why she felt we could have asked them to pay for my university and that it would be nice if Lucy got to have grandparents, but some people are petty and cruel. I looked at my dad like, are we really playing that game? But he didn't say anything. Then Laura turns to Lucy and goes, you should know none of this is your fault, life isn't fair, and you got the short end of the stick with certain family members. So I just said, yeah, the short end of the stick family member is you, Laura. Lucy could have had the same relationship with my grandparents that I do, but you were so selfish that you screwed your own kid out of that. Laura argued that no one who hated her could have a relationship with her daughter, so I was like, well, what are you mad about then? That your principals ended up sabotaging your kid? Maybe that's on you. At this point my dad was giving me a death stare, so I just went back to my food. Laura sent me a text later that night about how much she didn't appreciate me saying that in front of her child and that it was her prerogative how she managed that relationship. She'd also said my dad's family are cruel and vindictive. I didn't reply, and honestly the only reason I don't have her blocked is in case my dad is taken ill suddenly. But now my dad is saying it's caused issues at home because Lucy is finally grasping that Laura is the one who wouldn't allow her to have a relationship with Dad's side and is now apparently pretty mad about it. He's saying the way I went at Laura was inappropriate in front of a child and that Lucy shouldn't have heard all that, but I think she only heard it because her mother was reckoning reality. I didn't mean to cause an issue between Lucy and Laura, but honestly I do feel like Laura was asking for it by acting like an idiot in front of someone who knew the whole story. Edit, just to clarify. No, my dad's family didn't immediately forgive him. For a long time they only invited him to things if he brought me during his custody time. But time heals most things. They all still think he's a prick, but honestly I'm sure they thought that before. No, they haven't totally cut him out because we're just not that kind of family. But Laura was never family to start with, so it's way easier to never make her acquaintance than to cut out your blood relative that you've known for 40 years. I think that's fairly obvious. I am not mad that Laura set the boundaries she did, and I'm not mad my parents got divorced. I got mad that Laura set a totally fair boundary, that my dad went along with, not saying he's blameless, he's just not the one actively complaining, and then tried to pretend that the consequences of said boundaries shouldn't have happened. If you don't want your kid around people who don't like you, understandable, why are you whining that they're not around for your kid? Commenter. NTA. I sincerely hope Lucy starts asking to go see them without her controlling, home-wrecking, selfish mom. Obviously the dad has the most blame here for the affair and wrecking the family. Laura is trying to use a relationship with her daughter as her way to legitimize the relationship and weasel her way into acceptance by her husband's family. That didn't work. She is actively screwing her daughter out of financial support because she's mad her plot didn't work. If Dad hadn't been so spineless, he would have told Laura that instead of letting his daughter think her bio-grandparents hate her and then hefting mad it up when she dissolved the illusion. Commenter 2. Laura doesn't like the consequences of having an affair. Too bad. You only told your half-sister the truth. Her mom blocked a relationship to leverage herself where she was not wanted. Update. I'm not sure anyone wanted an update, but I like to read post updates, so thought I'd drop one. First thing that happened, Laura would not stop texting me. Not like constantly, but once or twice a day about her feelings or demanding a response/conversation. This middle-aged woman having a crash out via WhatsApp was not on my bingo card, but eventually I just had to tell her I don't want to block her because I do want to be there for my dad in an emergency, but I was going to if she didn't stop bothering me. More crash out material. I called my dad and told him to get his household under control because this was getting crazy. I wasn't going to apologize to her, and in my whole life I've never had as much contact with this woman as I had in the past week, and I wouldn't allow it to continue. My dad was kind of getting that it was an actual issue now, and I pushed him a bit and the dam broke. So the wider context I was not aware of is that Lucy is only now putting the pieces together of how Dad and Laura got together. She vaguely knew about the affair, but I guess she's finally getting what that means now that she's older and how much damage it did, and she's been asking a lot of hard questions about it and has been really down about it. That's probably why Laura was so triggered by the mention of my grandparents and in a rush to put her spin on it. But since the dinner, Lucy has really been raking Laura over the coals for it apparently, because she knows my dad would have let her see the extended family were it not for Laura. My dad also shared that Laura basically feels like she's spent a large chunk of her life being punished for the affair and it's weighing on her because of how hard Lucy is taking it. Side note, a lot of people were rightly roasting my dad for the affair, but if the above should prove anything, it's how much he is definition of a cockroach. The way this man manages to get away with diabolical behavior relatively unscathed is shocking. The second thing that my dad said, and uncharacteristically admitted was a mess up, was telling Laura that probably part of the reason no one ever eased up on meeting her was because they all knew I can't stand her. And I hold my hands up because I did a lot of bad-mouthing Laura back in the day to my grandparents and aunts because, well, I don't like her, and when you're a teenager, you think that needs to be everyone's problem. I don't think this is as big a reason they still won't meet her as my dad probably made it seem, but he did admit he threw me under the bus for it ages ago and Laura has never forgotten it. She thinks me poisoning the well is the whole problem. So that's probably got a lot to do with her complaining at me specifically. My dad did acknowledge that it was a mistake to tell her what was said, and while I wouldn't go around talking bad about Laura now, I don't feel bad about sharing my feelings with my family at the time. I did ask my dad if Lucy was going to be allowed contact with the grandparents, but Laura is still saying no, but he said she's close to cracking just because of how much of a hard time Lucy is giving her, so he's going to wait it out. In the meantime, I haven't heard from Laura in a couple of days now, which is what I mainly wanted from the situation. Commenter 1. I feel for Lucy, but Laura made her own bed. Too bad, she's making Lucy lie in it. Live your best life. I don't think you did anything wrong. Commenter 2. Sounds like stepmom messed around and found out. Honestly, don't bother anymore. It's not going to solve anything, just give her more ammunition. But if she continues bothering you, let Laura know that she's just feeling the consequences of her actions, and if she has an issue, provide her a box of tissue and say "Scram, not going to miss you."